Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go through the different areas in the game, and if you have the outfits, put them on and join us on stage. So we'll go through it one by one, and we'll
Goodness.
start with
Okay.
the plane, and then Lauren's gonna explain a little bit about what the outfits are, uh, design-wise, what went on in the background, and anything she can tell us about. So we're all familiar with the plains, home to the lovely sylphids, who we all know and love, charming little farms. It's got a lovely little village feel, cherry blossom trees, waterfalls, and lots and lots of grass for those of you on PCVR. Plains are where we find
Lots.
synthesize the Galleon Blade Master and Essence Mage gear. So if these pieces are your favorite, or if you have them in your bag, please put them on and come up to the stage and join us. Okay, there you go.
Ah,
This is the
yes.
Galleon
Oh,
Essence Mage.
oh yeah.
Long time since you guys have seen this.
Oh yeah.
Um, Lauren, can you tell us a bit more about the Galleon set?
Sure. So the Galleon set is interesting because it's one of the first sets that we designed where the Blade Master and the Essence Mage sets were not designed at the same time. So I'll get to the original Blade Master set, but the Galleon Essence Mage armor was the original Essence Mage armor. It was the first armor we ever designed for the Mage class. And that's also because the Blade Master class came first in development. So we had a kind of a head start on the Blade Master idea and the aesthetic of it. And so the Galleon Essence Mage was our first kind of foray into Essence Mage armor. And that was when we decided to do these wings on the Essence Mage armor, and that became kind of the staple, right? You know, when you see a silhouette of someone coming, if you see wings, you know they're an Essence Mage. And this was the set where we tried that out for the first time. So there's still a little bit of wonkiness if you're on Quest, I think, but
Okay.
pay no mind.
Yeah, sometimes they do this. Yep, yep.
Yeah. But yeah,
Cool.
I have a couple pieces of Blade Master on me. Let's see.
I think Rampid's wearing it.
Oh,
Over
This is
there.
the pink one. I'll come up.
Yes.
I'm also
okay,
recording.
perfect.
So, Blade Master.
I'll record this now.
Yeah, and for the Blade Master, that was the first time that we decided to experiment with like an asymmetrical design. So you see this shoulder piece here. Like one side is slightly larger than the other side. So that was the first time we tried to experiment with that, because up until then, everything had been perfectly symmetrical that we had designed. So,
Interesting. Cool. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Rampid. Right. So we're going to move on to our next area. So our next area is a secluded and peaceful forest area. Amorite Forest, Scarlet Vale, and Sporewood. This place is full of beautiful trees, charming little hills, Japanese pagodas, waterfalls, and giant yummy mushrooms. It's very tranquil here, and here is where you can pick up and synthesize the hardened gear for the Blade Masters and the enchanted gear for the mages. If either of these pieces are your favorite, have them with you, please put them on and come up on stage and join us. I think I'm wearing it. Lauren, do you want to tell
I'll
us
shout
about
the
these?
swords now.
Sure. So it's sad. I don't actually have any enchanted on me right now. That's okay. Let's see. So I can start with the Blade Master. So it looks like the one that you're wearing is a rare.
It's
like
the
colorway?
uncommon.
Yeah, the uncommon. There we go. The uncommon colorway. But this hardened armor, that's the first armor we ever designed for Blade Master, actually. We ended up moving it back into the forest. And that was actually mostly because people had seen that armor before. They had seen it in the alpha, the pre-alpha. And so we wanted people to feel like they had something to aspire to. Like people who had seen that in streams, they'd seen that in videos. You know, that was going to be the first time that you got a piece of armor that you had seen before, but you didn't have like immediate access to like right off the bat. So that was kind of the thinking behind that. The original idea, if you see the hexagon pattern here, we had just started exploring that hexagon pattern, and you'll see that pattern in other places too. You'll see it in the mountain area. There's a lot of like hexagonal tiling and stuff on the walls. So that was part of that same, we were in our hexagon era, I guess. But Yeah, the idea of it was
yeah,
really
you
to
can see
be
it.
kind of futuristic and yeah, I've always liked this set, right? Because to me, that's like the quintessential like Zenith set. Like that's the first armor piece in the whole game that we ever designed, or armor set in the whole game that we ever designed. So
That's
yeah,
that's really interesting because I've always wondered because like I do like this set, but it always felt more like it should be like the starting area set.
mhm.
So I guess that makes sense because like it just kind of like if you compare like the set compared to like the weapons
Right.
feel more foresty, but like the armor itself doesn't feel like foresty.
Yeah, and that was kind of the reasoning behind it, was just to push it back a zone so that everyone didn't start with the stuff they had already seen. You know, it was people's like brains were like saturated with like that armor. If you had watched the pre-alpha, especially.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, yeah,
And-
that's an excellent point. And then over here, doo-doo.
Ta-da.
Thank you for the spin. So,
Nice.
so this was when we wanted to try and go in a slightly different direction with the wings. So we borrowed a lot of the body design and pants design from the planes armor that you had seen. But this was the first time we were like, okay, what if we tried like a more mechanical wing design, right? We were still kind of working out a lot of the how do I put it? The relationship between kind of tech and magic in this world. And so we felt that if the plane set leaned a little bit more magical looking, what if we leaned this one a little bit more kind of tactical gear, technical looking? And that's also why if you look at her chest armor, it has that same hexagonal pattern on it. So we were still in our hexagon era when we finished.
Okay. Were these two
Yep.
designed at the same time?
They were not. No, the Blade Master was
So this came later.
the Blade Master was like a year before this one. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. That was very
Mhm.
interesting. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next area. Our next area is the mountain region, known to most of us as Obsidian Fortress and Skysong Summit. Obsidian Fortress is a formidable structure, and traces of industry are very apparent in the adjacent quarries that surround the fortress itself. Skysong is a pretty area, with lots of bridges and structures and updrafts to fly around in, and it's also home to the starting point for the very exciting Celestial Throne climb. In the mountain region, we can pick up and synthesize the Defender's gear for the Blade Masters and the Wind Song gear for the Mages. If either of these sets are your favorites, or if you have them on, please come up and join us on the stage.
For the other two that we had just seen, right, the plains and the forest, we designed them kind of in a vacuum, and then we decided after the fact, okay, well, these can go in the plains, these can go in the forest. For the mountain armor, that was the first time that we ever designed the armor with the biome in mind. So that was the first time that we actually had the zone, and then we were like, what armor would people wear in the mountain, as opposed to just kind of assigning existing armors to areas. So in the mountain, you know, that's the first time that we talk about things like the reliquary, where there's kind of this fancy secret area that you have to figure out how to get into. And so we wanted that to kind of reflect in this. This is kind of the most mysterious armor that we've had so far, you know, with the face mask, you know, things like that. So that was kind of the vibe that we wanted to give it, is this kind of ethereal, mysterious quality on the Essence Mage side. And then on the Blade Master side, we wanted to kind of reflect the geography of the mountain itself. So if you see, it has kind of these harsh kind of angles. It's got these kind of swooping patterns, and it kind of matches the geography of the mountain itself. If you look at kind of those walls and ramparts and castle pieces, it looks similar in style, but still has some of the magic elements with the ley lines and the glowing stuff on it. So yeah, this was the first set that we designed to reflect the area in which you'll get it.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks, Lauren. So those are ley lines. That's fascinating.
Oh,
Okay.
They're like mini
have a question.
ley lines. Yeah.
Mini ley lines.
What was the
Oh,
design process
yeah.
for the purple swords? I don't have any on me, but I was curious about those.
The purple swords. The hardened. Wait, no, not hardened.
Defender
There
still.
we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the defender's sword, I don't remember if the sword was also designed with the biome in mind, or if that was another one where we made a couple. I think for swords, we made a few swords in a stack together and then assigned them to sets that we thought they would look good with. So I think the purple sword was also the first time we had tried like a glowing sort of emissive thing other than this like high level sword.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm not sure if the sword was meant to go specifically with that set or if it was kind of after the fact. Yeah.
Alright, I think
Mix
so.
and match. So we're now going to head over to the beach, my own personal favorite area in Zenith, because it reminds me of home, and it reminds me of holidays. Radiant Coast, Turtle Top, and Tangled Cove are every Zenithian's favorite holiday destination, with white sand beaches, lush
And no
junk
pirates.
coral,
Sorry.
coral, fried fish, pirate ships, and of course the occasional tanky shark. Here in the beach, we can pick up and customize the Tidekeeper gear for the Blade Masters and the Wave Rider gear for the Mage. If either of these are your favorite, or if you have them on, please change and join us on stage. All right, Lauren, what can you tell us about these ones?
Yes, let me get my
Switch with
notes,
Rapid again.
my notes together. Sorry, give me just 1 second. Getting my.
Yep.
There's a lot of armor sets. There's more. That's what I learned during this. Is like there's a lot of armor sets that we have.
That's what I learned writing
Yeah.
this thing. So yes.
You're +1 for
There's a
making
blue
them all
and
into
an orange.
cosmetics.
Mhm. So the orange was the first one that we designed. That's actually not the case with some of the sets, and I'll see if I can point them out as I see them. Like the different colorways, like the common one is the first one that we made. Sometimes we ended up using the first one as a different one and then made a new one for common. But this is the first one, the original colorway for this armor. It's interesting because as I'm stepping through these, I'm seeing a lot of like the first time we wanted to try XYZ. So this is the first time we wanted to try like a different neckline. And so that's why that's the first one that has kind of this off the shoulder look to it. So if the mountain armor is kind of utilitarian, we wanted the beach armor to be the opposite, to have a little bit more of a fashionable look to it. You know, like you might actually wear it out somewhere as opposed to like this is just armor for fighting, right? So that was kind of
Very's
the,
got the blue one over on the other side.
I've got one
Sorry.
too.
So you've got.
nice.
Oh, what? Oh, is that the guys?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all women's fashion, unfortunately. Thank you, Blue.
That's all right.
But yeah, that was the first time we wanted to include something that looked more, for example, the necklace, you know, it looks more like jewelry. It's not really
Ever
like
seen the blue?
a
That looks
functional
cool.
piece of armor. It's just a part of the cosmetic look of it. So this was the first time we wanted to try something a little more casual, more fashion forward, and less like specifically just like plate armor and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Blade Master one? Is that what
I
you're
do
wearing?
have
So
I
I've
do
got
have
two color
some of the
sets.
Blade Master.
I've
Yeah, same.
got
I-
I've got the red one, and then I've got the purple.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
mine's a little mixed matched.
Dragon,
Yeah, I
stand
only
over
have
there
the-
by Rampid so that
shirt.
you can.
My bad.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
you've got purple. I'll go red.
Nice. Nice. So this one is kind of along the same lines. Like if you see the jacket has a much more casual vibe to it. You know, it's the first jacket that has like a collar, right? So like those were new kind of designs of having like an off the shoulder neckline or having a collared shirt kind of thing. So it is still sort of casual, right? So it's not true beachwear. You know, we have like sunshine armor that's like really beachwear, but again, same sort of decision here. If you look at the materials that it's made of, you can see more cloth on it. Most of the other armors are kind of this Kevlar or plate or bone in this case, I don't know. But this is the first armor set that has a lot more cloth in it because of that kind of casual vibe.
Yeah, I call this my fancy
Okay.
outfit for going out.
Yeah, you have
Feel
like
very
a bolero
proper in it.
jacket.
Bolero.
Yeah.
Casual vibe. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Lauren. Right, so for our next one, this is the region we also get our first taste of the epic drops, or purple gear, where many of us have endlessly terrorized the banshees in the hopes that they will drop that very special pair of tier 3 slippers. These sets are called the Squire's Garb.
Oh, that was
It's not
Squire's
that one.
Garb. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
that's
had
what
Squire's
Squire's
Garb.
Garb.
For the Blade Masters and the Initiate set for the mages. So I'm just going to change into the Initiate set now.
This one is kind of a callback. A callback for us because it hadn't been released yet, but a callback for us to the Founders gear. So if I go and I switch to the OG Founder pants, there we go. So we did it a little bit
Ah.
like asymmetrical this time, but you can see there's kind of some similarities, right, between kind of like the I don't know what to call it. The part that hangs down has like a similar
The loincloth.
the loincloth part of it has a similar vibe.
Yep. Let's call it that.
Another thing is that we had done asymmetrical for Blade Master, but I don't believe we had done asymmetrical for Essence Mage yet. So that also kind of explains that that shoulder piece difference. But yeah, the vibe here was definitely to show more kind of like flowing cloth. Because if you see, go to your other shoulder, in the back, like there's kind of cloth hanging down in the back. So this was the first set that we did that had like a lot of kind of like free flowing cloth.
It's nice. Okay, great. Thank you. Now we'll head over to the desert where we're having the event today. Home of the elusive dazzling royal scarab and the golden automatons. The gorgeous Amani and those purple Shin brothers, Darian and Gamor. If anyone remembers farming them for gear only to get flaming pineapple smoothies in return. So here in the desert, we can farm for or synthesize the Dreadlord gear, which Rampid is now wearing, for the Blade Masters, or the Demon gear for the mages. If these are your favorite pieces, please put them on and join us on stage.
So this was one that we went in kind of a different direction with it. So we had, a lot of armor that was, it looked like you were meant to be fighting in it, right? But we didn't have armor that looked sort of like a scholar's armor. And that was kind of the vibe we went for with this. So if you notice, it looks more like almost like a school uniform a bit, and so the vibe we wanted to go for with that is like, this is the kind of thing you'd be wearing, if you're a person who works at the Oasis, or you spend a lot of time exploring the mausoleum or things like that. It was more of like an academic scholars looking outfit as opposed to kind of a ready for action Kevlar sort of thing. And I think especially the gloves. I think the gloves are my favorite part because they look really different with kind of the flared wrist part.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the vibe we were going for. But again, I think this is the most cloth we ever did. Like it's almost entirely cloth. There's very little kind of Kevlar there. So we did add these kind of more futuristic looking wings so that we never lost the tech element. Like we didn't lose it entirely. But yeah, this is our first armor set that is meant to look like something other than just armor for fighting, I guess.
It's very cute and very anime. And then the Dreadlord, which Rampid is wearing.
So the Dreadlord, we went in the exact opposite direction. We were like, what if it was the most the most scary looking armor? But as you can see, the Dreadlord armor has almost like a little face on it. And that ended up being a precursor to the one that I'm wearing that I can talk about later that also has kind of a face on it. But yeah,
Like a
I think
slow
the I appreciate the slow turn, actually. It's helpful. I like the fact that the color kind of changes a bit from the top to the bottom. That's kind of to reflect, again, to kind of reflect this area, right? Everything that's over here is like these big stone statues and metal statues that have been kind of worn down and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the look behind this. All the other armors that you've seen so far have been very... like they look new, right? They look new and shiny and polished. And this is the first one that kind of looks like old. Like you literally found this, like this is an ancient armor set and you found it, as opposed to like, you had this made to go out adventuring, right? And that was also for a reason, right? Because we wanted to begin to move toward having this feeling of like mystical armor that you like found somewhere, or that, you know what I mean, that you didn't just go to the armor store and buy it off the shelf, right? That's kind of the first bit of heading in that direction.
Hmm. Interesting. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so we're gonna head into the end game gear. So hours of grinding have gone into these sets. So when you look at these, take a moment to appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears and sleepless nights that it took to farm for these gorgeous outfits, but also to appreciate the care and attention that went into their design. So let's start with the level 41 ancient gear for the Blade Masters and the Kitsune gear for the EMs. Please change into these if you want to come up to the stage.
So the end game
Nice.
gear is a little bit different from the rest of the gear. The end game gear, we designed a lot of them kind of in groups, not like thematic groups, but like, you know, we need a new set of end game gear, so here's like 3 sets or here's 4 sets. We designed them like in groups like that together, as opposed to just in sequence, one after the other. So this one was the first set of end game gear that we ever made, and so we wanted it to look pretty different from everything else. So, you know, as you can see, like the skulls here that are on the shoulder pieces, there's like these bone things that are on the hands and all this kind of stuff. So we wanted it to look like really, really different from the other armor that we had. And the same kind of goes for the Essence Mage as well. Like the materials that it's made of, the fur, like all this stuff. We wanted it to be like immediately obvious when you see a person wearing something that like, oh, that's endgame gear. Like that's a whole different thing from what I've been grinding and finding on the ground and finding in chests and stuff. So yeah, that was kind of the rationale behind these two. They both have kind of a natural vibe to them. Like we wanted to have kind of whatever, I don't know whose bones these are, but some kind of monster. But you know, the idea of having bone and fur and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we just wanted to make it really, really different from what we had. This is basically the first set where there's nothing really technical about it. You know, there's no Kevlar, no hexagon patterns, nothing. So yeah, we wanted to give the vibe of it being very ancient as opposed to kind of
Nice. And then the Kitsune and I guess the legendary, the OG.
Yeah, I mean, same goes for the Kitsune, like the fur pattern on the back and all that kind of stuff. The fact that the wings are actually feathers this time, as opposed to like, I don't know, plain wings, like tech wings. They're like feathered wings, right? We wanted it to look very natural and very distinct from all the other sets. So yeah, I guess the really, really high level theme is like more natural looking, more cloth. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to our next level. So this is the level 42 Ancient Hero Gear for the Blade Masters and the Ancient Magician for the Essence Mages. Please change and come up to the stage.
It's just
So
really
this
weird
is like
because
another one again where we wanted to start to lean more into themes, like, you know, themes that you could name, as opposed to kind of, this is the look of the armor. Like this is one where we wanted to go for sort of a Japanese kind of samurai style armor, especially if you look at the pants. You know, you can see that kind of like Japanese, like kind of prepared for battle sort of armor. We chose some of the colors based on like, those are, I mean, that blue is kind of everywhere in Zenith, right? And then that red is kind of, if you look at like the Torii gates that are sprinkled throughout the game, you know, that's more or less, it's the same red as that. So all these endgame sets that you're going to see, they're going to have more themes to them, or more looks to them that are not just kind of Zenithian. There's like outside influences that are getting pulled in more. So yeah, that's this one, is the kind of Japanese warrior.
I have a question about that set. Why is the male version gray?
Yeah, why is mine gray? I'm confused.
It's great. Oh, the pants.
The pants.
Yeah,
Pants
pants,
and
everything
the
except the
boots.
chest plate. Yeah, everything except the chest plate is gray.
And the helmet.
I'm actually not sure.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, yeah, I'm not fully sure.
Since we are getting into the sets now, I have been told that the Tidekeeper swords are placeholders. Is there any info about getting swords for the 42 and the 47 sets?
The Tidekeeper sword is a placeholder. Wait a minute. Do you have it
Yeah,
handy
What
so I can
level
just take a
sword is
look?
that?
Yeah. You.
They're across many different levels. They're all the same design.
It's
Hmm.
for the 42 and the 47 set. I was told they're just placeholders.
I also have 41s.
I am not sure about that, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get back to you, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right. So do we want to talk about what am I wearing? This one, or is that the
Oh,
same
yes.
Which
theory?
is good.
It's not. Is the original one gray or is that a rare one? I feel like it wasn't.
That's the one you
it's
make.
Gray. It's always been gray. It's the synthesized. Well, you can.
Oh,
They
that's the
don't drop.
synthesized
So
one.
yes,
No, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
make it.
Oh, got it. Okay.
with
For some reason, I
marks
was
of-
thinking it was another color.
it would be lovely if it were. It's always
I'm
been.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have as much of the backstory on this one. I think I wasn't, maybe I wasn't around for when they were designing that one. So I don't have a ton of backstory on this one, to be honest. So the one thing I do know is that this is the first one I've seen that has kind of that corset thing in there.
Mm.
So it does kind of have like a more sophisticated look, but I can't say much about the design choices here because I don't think I was there when they did this one.
Okay. So let's move on to the 43. Now the 43 is weird because the 43 feels like. No, that's not the 43 glove. Is that the right boots? Yes. The hands are not right. So the 43, this one feels more like it matches what Rampid was wearing earlier, like as a pair, in terms of the Japanese aesthetic. But it's a level 43, and that one is a level 42. So, do we have a
I-
Blade Master one for?
Swift
this
is
one
up there.
is,
Dragon. Yeah,
Big
Dragon
Dragon.
Hunter.
Yeah,
Yes.
Swift. Yeah.
So the 43 is the Dragon Hunter's gear for the Blade Masters, and the Wandering Wizard for the Essence Mages. Two very different and interesting designs. Please change if you want to come up on the stage, and Lauren, take it away.
Sure.
You've got
Um,
the three of us here. We can do a dancing trio. It's very there as well.
So yeah, so these two, again, they fall into the same kind of category where these are ones that we wanted to start to tell more of a story with. You know, some of the other armors, there isn't immediately like a backstory that springs to mind, but with these two, there is definitely like, okay, you're a dragon hunter. What are you hunting? What kind of dragon is this? Like, you know, there's all these questions that pop up immediately as soon as you see it about the backstory of this armor and where it came from and why it looks different from the other ones. You know, this is the first one where it has that sort of
Rampid, you can-
I don't want to call it like a dress thing, but like the bottom piece of the legs, you know. So
This work?
thank you. Perfect.
Great job,
Just,
Swift.
just
Great
keep
job.
doing it.
Keep
Go, Swift,
fitting.
go.
Music box.
You can stop whenever you're.
Nope, I'm still spinning.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, but anyway, yes. So again, we did want to pull a little bit of that Japanese design in, so you can see those influences there as well. But
Love that one.
yeah, this is one
God,
where we
I'm just-
definitely wanted to
Oh.
tell.
You did.
Oh no, are you okay?
Don't fall. Don't fall.
Okay.
We got you.
Alright, I'm fine now.
What the armor you want to go to battle
And,
with?
so for the for the Essence Mage, the same thing sort of applies, right? This is the first one where the armor itself tells kind of its
Okay,
own
Seren, if you wanna go up there.
backstory. So I think the most interesting piece is that pack on the back, where if you see there's like a scroll in there, right? So this is the first time that we did something like that, where there's almost like a prop that's a part of the armor and not just, you know, functional
Well,
for battle or something.
yeah.
There's a
You're aware.
story here of like, who is this wandering wizard? I believe this is also the first time we did tattoos on the skin as gloves as opposed to a physical glove. But yeah, so this was the first time I think we tried to
Love the
incorporate
tattoos. Yeah.
that backstory kind of element directly into the armor.
Nice. Okay, so that's the 43 Dragon Hunter and Wandering Wizard. Next up is the
Right
level
here.
47 Myrmidon's gear for the Blade Masters and the Primalist gear for the Essence Mages. Again, two very different and interesting designs. Please change if you want to come up. And Lauren will tell us about them. Let me just change into mine as well.
I really, really like this one. This was the first time I had ever seen one, or that we had ever designed one, that had wood on it. So that was super special. This is really, I think, the first time we made a serious departure away from the tech look at all. So again, it tells a story, right? It makes you wonder, like, is this person from the Amorite Forest? You know, it does kind of have the Amorite armor kind of vibes to it. So it was actually kind of inspired by our own armor, our own enemies, technically. But yeah, this was the first time that we did something that felt like really, really natural. Like someone carved this from something in the Amorite Forest. Someone trapped whatever this fur was, you know. So that was kind of the vibe. Is we wanted to do something like really, really different. And 100% natural. So it almost looks like, you know, did this person come from Zenith as we know it? Is this like from like 1,000 years ago and you just found it? But to bring forth those kind of questions. Right?
This is all I have.
Yeah, he's got the shirt.
The shirt. I'm trying to see. Does anyone have the rest of it? Sorry, give me 1 second.
You have that one?
No.
No.
It's really not a common set the Blade Masters
No.
make.
Okay.
Yeah, we just skipped the 47.
Sorry,
We'll
excuse me.
skip
I needed
47.
147.
Yeah.
That's right. By then they dropped, or we upgraded our 43.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was
The
like a
50s came out.
between gap.
Yes.
Oh, it is very dizzying, actually. Yep.
Yeah, it's not great.
Are you still doing? You don't have to do this.
No, I got it.
You don't? Oh gosh. Okay. Well, then I'll go quickly so you can stop. So the Myrmidon armor was kind of our first time doing like a traditional, like almost medieval looking armor. You know, so you see it's got kind of that shiny metal, like armor on horses sort of thing. You know, like an OG knight, right? So the inside part almost looks like chainmail if you look at it. So this was the first time we were like, what if we did something? This set, right? What if we did something that was totally kind of non-tech? So we've got kind of the nature and wood stuff, and then we've got this kind of OG metal medieval plate armor vibe. So the themes of each of these is very loose, like of each of these sets that came out together is loose, but we did try to experiment with things kind of internally, like, you know. So that was the experiment for this one. What if we got rid of all the kind of technical part and we made it very ancient?
Okay, thank you. And we're now down to our last two groups of gear. And I wonder if we have any of our amazing endgame players who have gotten this far with us today. So let's start with the level 50 Dark Omen gear for the Blade Masters and the Astromancer gear for the Essence Mages. Please come up on the stage. I don't have them, so I will be down here.
Same.
This one.
Yeah. I never got the chess
Okay.
piece. Very sad.
Yeah.
So
hard.
these two sets, when they came out,
150.
these were my
Yeah, I
like
never got
absolute
it.
favorite sets.
If it's
Especially
lacking.
the Blade Master set.
I
So,
tried for
you know,
hours. It never dropped.
we play on the team in general. We play a lot of Final Fantasy, right? And so this immediately, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like Dragoon vibes, right? And so this is just, it's my favorite set. I think it's so cool and like so different from a lot of the other ones. Like the eyeball things that are like inset in it. It's like, what's going on here? And the helmet. I think it's the first time that I've seen a helmet, that we had made a helmet that had kind of that like Valkyrie swoop thing and like the kind of the like eye slits and that kind of stuff. So this was like, I was like obsessed with this when it first came out. Like I was like
And
literally
it's
grinding
purple.
to get the gear. I was like, I could grant it to myself, but I just want to get the gear. Like I want to earn this one. So yeah, this one was a big hit when it came out. We also used both of these in our trailers. You know, we made sure to actually showcase these in our trailer for Celestial Throne, because those were kind of the big like end game pieces from Celestial Throne. So if you look at the trailer, everybody's wearing these or some variation of these, and something like a mix of these pieces. And then yeah, so for the Essence Mage gear, again, this is like one of my favorite. Like we really went kind of above and beyond and really expanded like what a mage can be. So this was the first time we pulled in kind of that style of hat, like the kind of traditional mage looking hat. So both of them have kind of that Final Fantasy influence that we pulled in. One of my favorite pieces about this is that it has the little purse, the little like moon purse on the side. And I'm not sure, like in terms of the lore, like what's in the purse. I don't know, like moon dust or something.
My Zen.
I don't know. So that's where you keep your
Oh,
dust.
yeah. Zen, yeah.
But I don't know what's in the pouch. But it was sort of the same thing that we did with the rolled up scroll on the back. Like we wanted to try like what happens if we add accessories, right? Like what does that add to the and also we wanted it to have a visual kind of cohesion. So the visual vibe of right, kind of or an owl, right? Kind of a magical bird thing, and that's why the mask also has that kind of bird look to it. Yeah, that was the vibe of this one, is to really go above and beyond and really make it like very fantasy, right? To lean into the fantasy.
This is my favorite one. Okay, thanks, Lauren. So the last one. So, and finally, the sign of many hours of grind, not to mention
Oh, yeah.
Tomekeeper skills, the Battle Master gear for the Blade Masters, and the Tomekeeper gear for the Essence Mages. Please come up on the stage.
One day I'll get the full set.
Oh, yeah.
It's really starting
Okay. So
Yay!
this one is these two. These two were finally one of the sets that we designed to look pretty much, you know, the same. Like they're the same vibe to them, and that's because this is the first one that we designed to actually look like the boss that drops it. You know, you see that in a lot of other games until now, but we thought the Tomekeeper was just like really cool, and it was just the first boss that we had, like the first like raid boss that we had that was like people were super excited to see it, and like, you know, we had trailers featuring it and all that kind of stuff. And so this was the first time that we were like, what if the boss dropped armor that just looked exactly like the boss or looked similar to the boss? That's why both of these have a similar vibe to them, and they both integrate the Tomekeepers, like the white mask, you know. So for the Essence Mage, they just directly wear the mask. For the Blade Master, they have little versions of the mask kind of inlaid into
the hips.
Like chain stuff is overlaid on top of these swords. Excuse me. So yeah, this was the first time that we did sort of an armor set that was truly like from a boss, as opposed to from a zone or has a vibe or like has a theme. It's like as soon you know the Tomekeeper.
The socks have chains on them. Did you notice that?
Keep them up, obviously.
Awesome. No, these are amazing. They look amazing. Okay,
Also,
thanks,
the
guys.
candle. I just love the.
Yeah, they're very cool. Okay, so does anyone else have anything that we haven't seen yet? Because I don't know all of the. Have we seen everything? This
I
Founders
think
Gift.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Covered most of
cosmetics.
it.
I think we haven't seen all the cosmetics, right?
Okay, so should we try beater? Everyone who has beater, put it on.
I mentioned it briefly earlier, but the beater gear was the first cosmetic that we ever designed. Even before we had the cosmetic system in place to equip cosmetic gear, we had this designed. And the story behind this one is actually kind of funny. It was like we had just the game wasn't out. Like even like the pre-alpha wasn't out. Like this is like way back, like during the inception of the game. Like we just had like kind of concept art and prototypes, right? And so as we began to post that stuff online, we got a lot of shall we say haters that would come in and be like, "Boo, you guys suck. This is a ripoff of Sword Art Online." And so the original idea
People
for
are
the beater
horrible.
gear was a little bit tongue in cheek. We were like, "Fine, if you're gonna call us an SAO, then we're gonna have beater gear." And anywhere
it.
that's
Yep.
not recognize this sword from anywhere. I don't know what you're talking about. So it was a little, and even
Oh wait, Laura,
yes.
you're cutting out a little.
How about now?
Yeah,
Is it better?
it's better.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so that was originally kind of the idea behind it. Was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek reference to all the people who kept accusing us of being an SAO ripoff, and it was like, fine, we'll give you what you want. Here's an SAO-inspired armor set. We'll make it true. So
A good
tend not
piece
to
of
do
background
things out
info
of
there.
The main thing-
But okay, that's cool. So the next one, I think, NeoWare. Shall we change into our NeoWare, guys? Whoever has it.
We don't have any. The NeoWare armor was super cool. It's the first time that we really explored like streetwear as armor and like cosmetics that don't look like they're related necessarily to the gameplay, right? Again, you see that in a lot of MMOs. Once they start to get more mature, they start to have outfits that are like, Christmas outfits or like a ball gown or like, things related directly to swords
Well.
and right, exactly. So this was the first time you're just hanging out, this is the fashion, this is the current fashion in Zenith, as opposed to it's not armor at all, right? Yeah,
It's very cool. Yeah, I think a lot of us like this one.
We love it. Yeah.
I like
Mix and
Now
match.
this one was a bit harder to grind, so I'm not sure a lot of people will have this, but okay, Jennifer's got it.
Jennifer has it,
Sunshine.
yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah, so sunshine gear,
I-
again, sort of in keeping with what I said about the NeoWare, is like we wanted to just start to explore things that were not related to fighting or combat at all, right? They're not necessarily armor, they're just outfits. And we designed these over the summer, and unfortunately they ended up in the build after, which was like in the beginning of the fall, at least Northern Hemisphere fall. But it's just a fun summer look. That was it. Yeah.
I saw someone mix and matching the Tomekeeper with the shorts. World boss club. It was a very interesting look. Right. So I think that's it though. We've gone through so many. There are so many. Do you have
I
anything
know.
else? Yeah. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I think the only other things that we have are these, the OG founder.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping some of the
Um,
GMs would come, but you've got it. So yeah,
OG
it looks
founder.
amazing as well.
So
Yeah, I love
OG
that.
Founders
I love
gear
that.
was designed for people who had backed our Kickstarter, or excuse me, for people who had who donated before the Kickstarter. We actually had a sale that was before the Kickstarter, so that was for people who were like OG,
Keen.
before we had a Kickstarter, before we had a website, before we had anything, right? So that's just to celebrate them. And also GMs now wear this as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one is
Okay.
the founders.
I
gear,
like that one
and
too.
that
Yeah, that one's always
is-
dope.
I think I got all of it. Shoes. Oh no, I didn't get the pants. Hold on. Pants. There we go. And this is for people that backed the Kickstarter. The one thing that I thought was interesting about these sets is that we didn't know at the time what class the person was going to play. And so rather than designing an Essence Mage version and a Blade Master version, we just designed them to be, cosmetic, and they work for anything. So that's kind of
Yeah.
why
I like that.
pair of where you can look kind of like a Blade Master even if you're an Essence Mage, and you can look kind of like an Essence Mage even if you're a Blade Master. So that's kind of the fun fact about these. That's the only armor sets that that look like the other class. So
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think we're nearing the end of our time, but we probably have about 5 to 10 minutes. We can maybe do 2 Q&A questions, Lauren, you think?
Sure.
Who'd like to do... I know Dragon's got a lot of questions if he's still here. Who has any questions for Lauren?
Hello?
No?
I do.
Okay,
I do. Me too,
Vala.
please.
Vala?
No, I'm just
Vala
wondering.
and then
There's,
Blue.
thank you. Some people say yes, some people say no. So, based on this fashion show, we love to be able to put on different kinds of gear. And there's been a request to have all the gear be able to be used as a cosmetic. So then you don't have to carry it around in your bag. Is that, in fact, something that's coming at some point?
I can't promise it. I agree that it would be fun. I agree that I like doing that in other games that have that feature. But no, I can't promise
Pause
that
it.
would
Okay.
come. Yeah.
Aw.
Okay. All right, Blue?
So my question was the same, but then I thought of a different question. Yeah, that would be awesome if we could do that. But also being able to choose color palettes. So having the same item of clothing, but in red shades or blue shades or green shades.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Okay, so that actually is coming. That was one of our
Hooray.
Kickstarter backer promises, that you would be able to transmog and dye your clothing.
I like.
Oh,
Awesome.
very nice.
Yay, something to look forward to.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
You heard it first here. Yay, you heard it first. All right, so I think we're going to wrap up. It's been amazing, Lauren. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
that
you,
with us.
Lauren.
Hi, sir. How you doing?
Thank you,
Yeah,
Lauren.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
for
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you. It
you.
was really fun.
It's been so inspiring to see all of the thought and effort that's gone into the fashion behind the scenes. So I hope you've all enjoyed that whistle-stop tour of Zenithian fashion. Can we please have a round of applause for Lauren and all of the designers over at Amazon?
Yay.
Don't break the controllers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.